Hi, Gaye DeRusso with the Majestic rider. So today I have Trace with me. He's a 7-year-old horse, Missouri Fox Trotter. He's beautiful, of course, and we're getting him ready to be ridden again because he's had about a year off. So working on his groundwork. And so today I'm just getting him used to wearing the saddle again, wearing the bit again, and we're going to work him over some poles. So he's trotty, so we don't want to make him more trotty, but we do want to teach him to pick up his feet and to condition him. So off we go. And this is a good workout for him, especially for the babies. It makes them think and strengthen their muscles. So when they're loose, I don't care if they pace trot or what they do. Again, I'm just trying to do things to help make them better. But if I was gating him, then I would just, keep him slower and I wouldn't go too fast over the poles. The ones that foxtrot, sometimes they'll hold the foxtrot, but a lot of times when they're loose, they'll just hold the trot. Okay. So he hasn't been out, so right now I'm going to skip the poles. I'm going to go faster. And we're going to there's his flat walk. We're going to just get rid of some energy first. That was good. He was trying to do the right thing. So now I don't need him to go over the pole. So this is just to make sure he's okay with my saddle. Make sure nothing's pinching him. Look, he aimed himself for the jump. That's hilarious. So he's trying to do the right thing. So I always like to make sure that, if they haven't been ridden in a while, that all the equipment is okay for them. Nothing's pinching them. I'd rather find out when I'm not on them. Okay? He's pretty sure-footed. He's pretty agile. And he was a little bit spooky and jumpy when he came in. But once we put him back to work, he's been quite good. Okay? He's young, so of course he could spook and stuff. But sometimes the reason they're so spooky is just they're not getting enough work and they're not using their brain enough. And so they just keep reacting to things. Okay, now we're going to go the other way. Oh, good job, buddy. You're doing so good. So we'll walk them over it first. So I like things flopping around on my saddle, or if the cushions or something fall off, I don't care about it because I'd like to see what the horse does. It's better to find out what they do before you get up there and just make sure everything's okay. He also had a little problem with the bit. He was in a very nice snaffle bit, but it had a lot of moving parts and gave a lot of relief, and it was just, I think, too much for him. So he played around with it a lot and kept putting his tongue over the bit, and so tried him in a nose band. He still played with it a lot, and so now I have him in a miler bit, and this one has a fair amount of tongue relief, so it has a wide port in there for his tongue, and he's done pretty well with it. He looks to be a lighter horse, that he's not going to be heavy in the mouth, and the owner has very light hands, so I think they'll be fine in this bit or a little bit shorter shank if they want to go with one. I just don't have a shorter shank with that mouthpiece, so that's why I put them in that. Okay? And a lot of people worry about shanks. It's usually more who's at the end of the shank, not the horse part, but the human part. They pull too much and stuff. So you do want to teach the horse, how to handle a bit and make sure they understand it. And then if you're light with your hands, a longer shank can be okay, as long as you're very mild with it. It does help to set their head better because a lot of clients don't have great timing, so these bits with the shanks usually help the person get the horse's head down easier. Okay, so he doesn't look like he has much energy today because when he first came, he was running, bucking, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Okay, so let's go out and we're going to do we're going to see if we can get him up to his flat walk. Okay. So this is just his walk, so all we want is a faster walk. A little bit more. So you see he trots when he's loose. And so for him, it should be pretty easy to get him to foxtrot because he already has the trot. So all I'm going to have to do is just slow him down. But we want to make sure he also has a flat walk, and that was it. You saw his head shaking and him separating his legs and reaching out. And we want to make sure he can do this, and a lot of foxtrotters can do a running walk too, so if you want to do that, that's fine as well. And then they should have a foxtrot after that running walk, and then some of them will have a saddle gait. So in here, I can't really foxtrot over the poles, it just makes them trot more. So I'm just going to practice the flat walk, and then maybe next week we'll get a little faster walk, and it'll be a running walk. I'm going to talk a little bit about foxtrotters while I'm doing this. So foxtrotters are nice horses. They're usually pretty calm. Slow down, buddy. Easy. And so a lot of people get the young ones, and you just got to be careful because they're still a young horse. And sometimes they haven't had the exposure, so they can be calm and then blow up at things, but it's not their fault. It's just because they haven't been exposed to some of those things, and they're still a young horse. The ones that are on the trotty side are going to be much easier to get a foxtrot. If you have a foxtrotter and it's on the pacey side, it's going to be easier for you to get a flat walk and a running walk versus a foxtrot. But you can still do it. You still can do it. The ones that trot will be easier to canter. The ones that pace, it's harder to get them to canter, but you can get it. So you'll see he foxtrots a little bit and then he goes into a hard trot. And that's pretty normal. You're doing very good. And the other thing I'm doing with him is walking him down the road and just getting him used to things. So I'm making sure he trusts me. I get to see how he reacts to things. And I can work on it from the ground so we're both safe. And then we'll start riding them next week. There's no rush in getting on horses when you're training them or you bought them. You want to make sure their groundwork's good. You understand the horse. They're safe, you kind of see how they react, and then start riding them. Okay? Biggest mistake I see people do is they get a brand new horse and they go off and take a ride with, like, you know, a whole bunch of friends, and their friends are doing goofy stuff, and you got a new horse and it's not sure what's going on, and then they get fucked off. So take your time, do everything slow. There's no rush to get there. So this guy has a very nice flat walk. So to me, I'm sure he was bred well. And so everything's going to be much easier to do. And then he's been well taken care of all his life. So he's very trusting. With him, it's more, you know, teaching him respect, stay out of the space, and, you know, to behave, just because he's young. Okay, so now we're going to go the other way. Oh, good boy. Out you go, Tracy. And it's nice he's already had some training, so he already knew how to lunge, which makes it much easier for me. And he does have, you know, some work ethic. It's just that he had some time off, but he's getting it back. He's starting to understand, like, oh, I'm back to work. Most horses like to work. You think they like the time off, but they get bored. They have nothing to do, and then they start getting in trouble. Everybody likes to have a purpose. And most of these horses, once we get them going back to work and then go to trail riding, they're very happy. They're much more relaxed and a lot less spooky because they're using their energy up instead of just standing there reacting to things. So see, as you're watching him, see if you can tell the difference between when he's trotting and when he's fox trotting. You can always slow the video down, and I'll try to put some slow in here. Remember, when they're trotting, the two diagonal legs, which mean like the left front and the right hind, will move together. When they're fox trotting, you're going to see that left front leg move and then the hind leg on the right side move. So there'll be a couple seconds separation instead of moving together. The other way you can tell is you watch the saddle. If it looks like he's trotting, but the saddle's not moving very much, that means he's doing a fox trot. If it looks like he's trotting and you see that saddle bouncing up and down a lot, like now, then you go, oh, there's a moment of suspension, so that horse is trotting. So when you're doing the fox trot, a lot of people ride them really fast now. I don't like that so much. I'm not a show person, and so I just want a nice smooth gait. And if you ride them a little too fast, you get closer to that trot and it's bouncier. Now that was a little test. He's like, who are you talking to, and do I have to keep going? You do, just a little bit more. So again, if you got a foxtrotter and all he does is pace, making this circle of poles is sometimes enough that it converts them over to the trot. And then once you get them trotting and you ride them, all you got to do is ride them a little faster. If they trot, slow them down, half halt, sit back. You might have to raise their head a little bit, and then you should have it. And they do it right, stop, reward, and repeat over and over, and you'll have your foxtrot. I make it sound easy, don't I? It's not that easy. All right, so he's doing really well. Okay, so let's stop him. Whoa. So he's very good. He's picking up my cues. I guess I must have left my other rope out there. So the other thing he was doing was he was a little bit in the space. So I wanted to show him just staying behind me. He's quite good now. He was one that was a little pushy, so I did have to get after him pretty good to make sure he wanted to stay back there. And then if he didn't back up and I was backing up, I would do this. And then I might turn around and swing my rope at him. Okay? So if you have a horse and you're like, he's just constantly in my space, it's usually they don't believe you. If they get stuck, just turn like this. It's usually they don't believe you and you have to be a lot more pressure on them and demand a little bit more, be quicker with them. Because if you have to do it all the time or you have to do crazy stuff to keep that horse back, it means they don't believe you. So you might have to like turn around and run after them or do something, you know, to get their attention, make them know that when you do stuff, if they don't back up, you're really going to get after them. If they come into your space, you're going to get after them. And then it's your energy and your presence. You have to be more dominant. Like, hey, I'm in charge. Because if you're not, they're just like, you're not in charge. I'm just going to walk over the top of you, lady. You got any food? I'm going to maul you and take your cookies while I'm walking on top of you. So you don't want to let him do any of those things. Okay? So now he's quite good. He'll stay far behind me. And this is how I walk him down the road, because that way it'll keep me safer. All right, so we're going to do a little desensitizing. And he was a little jumpy in the beginning with this stuff. But now he's quite good, and that tells me he was jumpy just because, hi, you're so cute. He was jumpy because he just wasn't worked enough and he had some extra energy because he's not so jumpy now. But I haven't done it with the saddle on before, so that might be a little bit different. And you see me, I desensitize all the horses. I want to see how they react and how they do. But you'll see he doesn't really care about this stuff. And I know he's had this done with other trainers, and they did a great job, so thank you. Right? So when they're good, I do a lot of it in the beginning, which I did the first day. And then when they're good, I go, I don't have to do much of that anymore. He doesn't care about it. Let's do something else. So you want them used to ropes and things going around, because you never know if you're going to be dragging a rope and then it hits the horse or it wraps around their legs or something bad happens. So the more you get them used to stuff, the less likely they are to freak out and have an accident. Because what do horses like to do? They like to freak out and have accidents. Right? And they like to hurt themselves and sometimes us by accident. So you don't really care, do you? He's like, no, I don't care. Okay. Now, he didn't like this one at all in the beginning, and a lot of horses don't, because they think the person's going to hit them with the rope. So I always want them to be okay with this, just in case somebody is swinging something, or somebody someday wants to rope off the horse. Okay? And what did he do when I first did this? He ran around. And I just kept swinging it, and then he stopped, and I stopped. And we did it again. He ran around, and I kept swinging it, and when he stopped, I stopped. And then after that, he's like, oh, I don't need to run. I just stand here, and she stops. So desensitizing is helpful, gets your horse used to things moving around. And this is a great thing to do with anxious or go-y horses, so they get used to things moving around them and them not responding to it and just relaxing. Okay. Now you'll see he's chewing on the bit, but that's okay. It has a little roller on it. And he's occupying himself, so it's fine. It doesn't bother me at all. People get annoyed with a lot of things the horses do with their bits, but again, if you had something metal in your mouth, you might chew on it too, like it's gum. So some horses are more quiet and they're a little bit more serious horses, and some are goofy and playful, and some are just young, and some just haven't had the bit in his mouth, for a while. So yesterday he did the same thing. He kind of chewed on it for a while, and then as we did more and more work, he just stopped and he left it alone. So in time, it should be more and more like that. And I don't mind at all if they chew on the bit. We just don't want him putting his tongue over the bit. Okay. Now we're going to swing it over his head. You do look pretty in this bridle, though. So he's good, right? Now, just because he's good with this stuff, though, doesn't mean once I walk him down the road and we see goats or cows that he's going to be good, right? Do you want to see it? So I always let them smell it if they want to. They don't have to. Remember, the flags are good. We're just getting them used to weird noises, birds coming out of bushes, and all those things. So if your horse is very jumpy, a lot of desensitizing can help. It might not do the full trick, but it can make a difference, right? And then I rub this all over him too, right? And then I actually hit them with it. Go up in their groin and all sorts of stuff. So if a bag blows up on the trail, hopefully they'll be okay with it, right? Yeah. There's been bad stories about bags blowing around and people getting hurt because, it flew up or it got caught in the horse's bridle. The bridle freaked out, horse freaked out, the rider falls off, and then the horse runs over somebody. So the more you get them used to things, the safer you are, the safer the horse is, and the safer the people around you are, right? Good boy. And now we're rubbing. So he's busy. He's just like, Gaye, do you have any treats on you? I always do. Right. But he's being gentle about it. He's not doing anything bad. So fine. All right. Oh, we got to hit you with this. I forgot. He's like, yeah, don't forget. So I want to make sure if this goes up into his groin or up his tail or something, he don't care. If it goes up on his head, here you go. He's okay. I wouldn't like that. So I think he's doing great. I'll do a little bit of the noodle. So this is nice things when horses have had training or the owners do a good job. You don't have to do a lot of this stuff. You're just kind of checking, like, are they okay with it? So you should do the same thing if you bought a new horse. Like, check all this stuff. Are they okay if something's over their head and rubbing on them? Much easier to find this out when you're on the ground versus being on them. Okay. Lots of the baby horses like to eat these. All right. Time to let go. Thank you. So that's normal. Remember, they don't have fingers. The only way they can see what things are is to use their mouth. So I'm careful with the ones that are too mouthy because they will bite this and try to eat it. Now we'll do the bag. So I like the bag because it's helpful. It imitates a map if you're on the horse's back, and lots of people need to open maps when they're up there. So I did this a lot, so I know he's okay. You're always careful when you're doing this, especially when you stick it into their groin, that you're not in a spot that you might get kicked. Good job. Yeah. And a little treat. Okay, now we do the water bottle. So everybody drinks water. Better to overdo it than underdo it. So sooner or later somebody drops a water bottle and the horse goes flying, right? So make sure they don't care. If you're klutzy, drop stuff. Drop your stick, drop all sorts of stuff when you're on the ground. Throw it over them, under them, right? Just get them used to it. Let's see what you do with this. Oh, my hat flew off, right? So you're just trying to make sure something happens like that. They don't care, right? Oops. Oh, my hat fell off. Yeah. Oh, thanks, buddy. So see, he was very good with that. Now my hat's dirty. Okay. What do we got left? We got the umbrella. We see lots of umbrellas on the trail. It can get hot here. So we want to make sure they're okay with this. You see he is already. Oh boy, he don't care, so we're just going to move on. Make sure they're okay with it under him, over him, spinning around. He's like, whatever. So that's how you know when a horse shows up and it's spooky, and I start doing all this stuff to him and they're fine after I work them, I go, it's not a spooky horse. It was just, right? Just didn't have enough work. So his brain went into overdrive and he just started spooking at everything because he had nothing else to do, right? Because a spooky horse, a real spooky horse would freak out with this stuff. Hi! You're so cute. Okay. So let's put all this stuff back. So have your own bag of tricks. Find new things. Just keep getting different stuff. And, you know, if you're going around the barn, your horse spooks at a bag, pick up the bag. You know, spooks at something else, a balloon, pick up the balloon. Spooks at the stick, let's do the stick. So we haven't done the whip with him, so let's see what he does. So I start off nice and easy before we start cracking it. And he's like, these flies are driving me crazy. And I fly sprayed them, but I think they're invincible. Good boy. Good job. So sometimes I'll get some good cracks out of it. Sometimes I won't. Good job. But you see, he doesn't really care, does he? And then I showed you in another video, I popped those plastic things next to them so they get used to like an air vest or guns. It's just helpful. So anything you can think of. If you have a gun, you know, of course, shoot it around them. Get them used to all sorts of different things because you never know what you're going to see out on the trail. Motorcycles, baby carriages, all those things come up, right? So, you know, this is one way of desensitizing them, and then the baby carriage, the bicycles, that's another way of desensitizing them. So we want to use as many things as we can. So he was good with all this stuff. So now I'm going to walk him down the road with all his tack on. We're going to check his girth again to make sure it didn't loosen up, because it always does. And so we're going to tighten this. And then I'm going to take him for a little walkie. Boy. But there you go. So you'll get to watch his progress as the weeks go on. He's a very nice horse, and I think he's going to do great. Yeah, just need some time. Okay. And he stands there. We had a car with a trailer banging. He was fine, and then right when it went by, he spooked, but he did fine. And now there's a cow up there. I don't know if you've seen cows before, if you can see it. It's right there. And he's doing pretty good. He's watching it, but we'll see. Good boy. But so far so good going down the road. He's fine with speeding cars going by, just not that trailer making noise. Alright, we're down at the road, and he's a little antsy down here. There's lots of cars that go by. His worst dilemma is a truck pulling a trailer. That is making him spook and jump around a fair amount, but I can't videotape it. So, because we passed two. But trucks go by here, so I'll just keep coming back here every day and trying to get him used to it.